Herb. Herb is a plant. I mean, herbs are good for everything. Herb.
Welcome to Eugene Cannabis TV. You made the trip. You got DanK here. Got some interesting news stories and updates on things that are going on in the cannabis world. This show is all about education. We want to let people know about cannabis issues. Cannabis, it's just simply a plant, or as my shirt says, it's the plant. So anyway, I wanted to jump right in, and this story really came close. If you remember a few shows ago, if you saw it, our friend Danbo faced federal charges. I was there. I was trying to get people to come to court to help him out and to be there for support. So anyway, this article, I'll explain it then at the end, but this is a short article from the Huffington Post. Drug defendants are being forced to plead guilty, report claims. Only 3% of U.S. drug defendants in federal cases chose to go to trial instead of pleading guilty in 2012. Only 3%. According to a new report from Human Rights Watch. The small number begins to make sense if you consider the consequences faced by drug defendants convicted in court, argues the report's author, Jamie Fellner. Prosecutors can say, take these 10 years, or if you get a trial and are convicted, you're going to look at life, said Fellner, an attorney who specializes in criminal justice issues at Human Rights Watch. That's a pretty amazing power that unfortunately they are more than willing to wield. The effect, she argues, is that prosecutors essentially force defendants to plead guilty. Last year, drug defendants in federal cases who went to trial and lost were sentenced to more than 3 times as many years in prison as those who took a plea, according to the report's analysis of data from the United States Sentencing Commission, a governing agency. And the majority of those who did go to trial, 89% of them, lost. The percentage of defendants in 2012 who fought their charges is likely an all-time low. In 1980, the first year for which the report reviewed the relevant data, the percentage of federal drug defendants who pleaded guilty was slightly more than 60%, and it has risen steadily since then. The advent of majority minimum sentencing laws in the mid-1980s is largely responsible for the steady increase in guilty pleas, according to Fellner. Such laws require judges to impose harsh, predetermined sentences on people convicted of the distribution and, in some cases, possession of illicit drugs, while giving prosecutors the ability to offer defendants smaller sentences as part of a deal. If you can get someone to acknowledge guilt without the burden and expenses of a trial, without having to marshal witnesses and line up witnesses, and without risking an acquittal, why not? Said Fellner. You don't have the cost of the trial. It doesn't take the time and resources, and it increases the notches on your belt of how many convictions you've gotten. But in reality, the government lacks the resources needed to try everyone who is charged with a drug offense, said Stephen Jensen, the Vice President and Chief Operating Officer of the Association of Prosecuting Attorneys, a professional group based in Washington. Justice would almost stand still if we took the majority of our cases to trial, he said. Jason noted that efforts are underway to reform the nation's mandatory minimum resentencing laws. Lawyers from both parties have introduced bills that would scale back the reach of these laws, and U.S. Attorney Eric Holder has directed federal prosecutors to shift their attention away from drug cases. Our system is looking at mandatory minimums and what we're going to either do or not do about them, said Jensen. But a defendant is really not forced to accept a guilty plea. Obviously, they have a right to go to trial no matter what the sentence is. So this really comes close to home because this is exactly what happened to Dan Bow. He took a plea bargain. He was facing 30+ years. He took a plea bargain and got 15 years. He'll eligible for good behavior, time served. We're hoping he might get out in 10. But I sat in court and I heard the conditions, and I heard the judge keep asking him over and over again, "Are you accepting this on your own free will? Are you being coerced?" And she kept just asking him that, and just basically just sewing it up and sewing him in, you know. And then I found out later that part of the deal is that the plea bargain was they didn't prosecute on any of the drug charges, but what he got the time on was the gun charges. He had possession of a gun. It was a felony, and there's no way he's ever going to get out of that. He'll never appeal his way out of that, so it's not looking real good. But I posted this on our local email list, activist email list. I said, when you think of how many are benefiting with $signs from this, and how many people do nothing to end the practice, it looks as though this will continue to be the norm. I plan on making this a very big deal at our 2014 Global Marijuana March, which happens in front of the old federal courthouse here in Eugene. That's the first weekend in May, so you'll be hearing more about that. But and this is a prime example of jury nullification, and where we need to use jury nullification, and we need people to be educated on jury nullification. So we'll be talking more about that in the future too, because we need some real education. And then on the other side of the country, it's an interesting thing developing in Portland. That's Portland, Maine. Portland, it says, Maine marijuana backer says allies doomed to 2014 bill. This is in the onlinesentinel.com, written by Edward Murphy. Thursday's vote means a bill to legalize small amounts of marijuana throughout the state won't be able to be introduced before 2015. Representative Diane Russell, Democrat, said her effort to put a statewide marijuana legalization bill before lawmakers in January's legislative session failed because of opposition from one-time allies. Any bill legalizing marijuana throughout Maine must now wait until 2015. Russell said Friday night that those who opposed her bill latched onto elements of a draft she circulated without giving her or fellow legislators time to consider alternatives on matters including a tax rate for pot and ways to clean up the records of past offenders. See, that's the thing about working on initiatives. Sometimes when you have people working together, misunderstandings break out, disagreements break out, lacking communication, and this to me looks like this is a typical activist internal problem, which is unfortunate because now it looks like they're looking at the 2015 ballot. But anyway, I just wanted to jump into that story briefly, just to update everybody, because we had big hopes on legalization from Portland, Maine. But it's still big news because the polls are showing that it has an excellent chance of passing. So that's very exciting. I think it was I can't remember 58%. I think it was. So we'll be hearing more about them, I'm sure. But anyway, that's the latest thing is that they're looking at 2015. We had an interesting story that came by me here. This is actually, Dr. Oz, our friend. Everybody thinks great stuff about our Dr. Oz and has great health tips on TV. Well, this was posted on droz.com, and it's written by a lady by the name of Paula Riggs, MD. She explains how marijuana affects health and why users should think twice before they smoke. She says marijuana is the most commonly used legal drug in the United States. In the past 5 years, rising rates of adult and adolescent marijuana use in the United States has been linked to the broad perception that marijuana is a relatively low-risk recreational drug and does not lead to addiction. A recent 2013 National Gallup poll reported that 58% of Americans currently support legalization of marijuana. Colorado and Washington have recently passed such legislation, legalizing the sale of recreational marijuana, and a number of other states are currently considering similar legislation. In light of this growing national momentum, it is important for the public to have access to accurate scientific information and be informed of current research findings regarding the health risks and benefits of marijuana and the public health implications of increasing access and use of marijuana. Research shows that individuals who occasionally use marijuana may suffer fewer negative consequences and have a lower risk of becoming addicted in comparison to those who use regularly. Regular use over long periods can cause changes in the brain and behavior similar to other addictive drugs and can lead to addiction. Now that last sentence I underlined because I wanted to comment about that, and I was hoping that one of our friends would be with us tonight could help. I'd like to comment on that. But it's something that, of course, there's a lot of arguments against. So like anything you read, you got to take it with a grain of salt and think about it. But the fact that it was posted on Dr. Oz's website alone gives us some credibility, and so it's something a person really probably should research on their own. It says the acute effects or high from THC generally last 1 to 3 hours and cause impaired attention and decision making and slowed reaction time, often accompanied by poor coordination and balance. Studies have shown that marijuana use interferes with learning, information processing, and a person's ability to form new memories. Because of marijuana's negative effects on attention, memory, and learning, individuals who smoke marijuana daily may function at a reduced intellectual level some or all of the time. Chronic heavy marijuana users also report problems with memory and learning that last much longer than the acute high and can risk and may persist for several weeks after session. So personal experience kind of counts into this, and we all have our own personal experiences, but it's interesting to see what's out there and see some of the arguments against use. So we're gonna take a break here in a little bit, and I appreciate you hanging with me. I got some more stories and more information, so please stand by. I'll tell you about some local meetings coming up and local get-togethers, and some good sources for medical marijuana patients. We'll be right back.
Are you tired of following all the rules? Ready to let loose? Have a little fun? Sounds like you need to. Get high. And with Narcomex Incorporated, your direct-to-consumer drug trafficking solution, you can. Narcomex values your business. That's why we're your #1 supplier of drugs, and you're our #1 consumer. These billions can't be wrong. We work hard for your business and have killed not 1, not 2, but 3 Mexican police and 2 journalists just to keep you high with that very joint. Why, our commitment to keeping you supplied has killed over 17,000 people right next door. Traffickers, soldiers, journalists, prosecutors, you name it. We're that passionate about your business. We've even begun to destroy some of your favorite tropical beach destinations. Because if you smoke enough at home, you don't even need a beach. But don't legalize it or grow it at home. Let us do the work for you. Sure, consumers boycotted evil companies, but there's no need to boycott Narcomex Incorporated, your direct-to-consumer drug trafficking solution, also offering heroin, meth, and cocaine. Narcomex Incorporated. Live a little, and forget others won't.
Welcome back to Eugene Cannabis TV. We got our friend Joseph from the greener side here with us.
Hey, everyone.
And appreciate him coming in on this cold, slippery night.
Yeah, right.
And Joseph brought in some information that I wasn't aware of, so we can pass that on. So definitely appreciate that.
Definitely glad to be here.
First of all, the RAC. Well, actually, I thought about this RAC committee. That's kind of a double thing. If it's a Rules Action Committee or a Rules Advisory Committee, then that'd be well, anyway. Anyway, what we're talking about is the Rules Advisory Committee. They're working on setting rules for dispensaries, and
for House Bill 3460.
3460, the implementation of the House Bill 3460 to form dispensaries in the state of Oregon. And so anyway, this is a rules committee. There's been a bunch of them, and now I think I keep hearing final, but they seem to keep going on. So
yeah, I think this one is going to be the final one. That's the word out there on the street right now.
Okay.
It's going to be the final one on Wednesday. So by the time that everyone actually sees this episode, it'll have already ended. But we'll I plan on going and seeing it, and if you have time, you should definitely go out and check them out. They're very informative, and you can always ask questions.
And
voice
that's
your
happening
concerns.
in Portland.
No, that one,
Salem.
Salem, yeah,
Salem
at the State Building. So
yeah, and if you want information on that, send an email to dankbagman@hotmail.com, and I can pass the information on to you. And we'll definitely have a report on that next show. And speaking of next show, remind me. This is our second to last live broadcast for the 2013. So next week we've got which would be today's
the 9th.
16th. So it'll be the 16th.
Yep.
So on the 16th I can't be right. 16th.
Yeah,
16th.
yeah. Today's the 9th. Saturday, 16th.
Yeah. So on December 16th is going to be our last live show, and so we'd love to have you come down, be on the show. If you'd like to comment on things that you heard about or things you'd like to comment, you're certainly welcome. And we'll have a report on the Rules Action or the Rules Advisory Committee for 3460, and we'll let you know what's going on.
Yeah, they should. They should be getting that signed and having everything ready and raring to go for March.
And then an organization that I might have heard about, or maybe I just brand new, I can't remember. But anyway, tell us about the OCIA.
The OCIA, so that's the Oregon Cannabis Industry Association. So it's basically the trade association for the state of Oregon to show that the cannabis industry is a professional and upstanding industry for the state.
Now, are we talking about medical marijuana, or are we talking about medical marijuana and hemp?
Both, essentially. Cannabis is hemp.
No, I know, but I'm talking about industrial hemp. Are they going to be working on industrial hemp too, or just?
I'm sure they are. As of right now, the focus is to establish the medical side and to lobby for legalization and to get that that momentum going in the professional atmosphere that as much as professional as we possibly can be.
And Alex, on January 30th through the 31st is the Oregon Medical Marijuana Business Conference, and that's really exciting because if you think about it, if you ever want to know about starting a medical marijuana business, this is where you want to be, and to find out about it. And times are changing, but we're talking about you could actually conceivably have your own medical marijuana dispensary if you just go through the process. And
you dot your I's and cross your T's, and
it's
definitely
state law, so it's coming.
Yeah.
And this is you say about Alex Rogers is a large part of this, or?
Yeah, Alex Rogers is a large part
Alex
to
Rogers
that.
is with the Northwest Alternative.
Yeah, that and Ashland Alternative Health as well. They also have a spot in Medford, and he's a very awesome, intelligent person. Anything that he really does is very well done and very thorough. And you can go to OMMBC.com and really look at the lineup for it. It's a great lineup. There's really a lot of top-notch speakers with a lot of information to share. you know, last time I went to a conference similar to this, I was just kind of blown away with all the information that they touched on. Like it's very informative. So if you do get a chance to go, definitely bring a pad and a pad of paper and a pen. You know, take the information down, network with all the people that you can. Because you know, I always like to say is that if you know, closed mouths don't get fed. Essentially, you know, ask questions. You know. Because if you ask a question that they don't know the answer to, they're gonna, you know, need to research it and find the right answer. Because more people are gonna have those questions.
The squeaky wheel gets the grease. That's kind of one of mine.
There you go.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, so definitely participate in that one because your chances are coming. Also, I want to be sure to mention that the Willamette Valley Normal meeting is coming up December 28th. Thanks to Joseph, took the initiative and got us a meeting room at the library, so we're actually legit now. No, we've.
Oh yeah, you guys have been legit for far longer than anybody actually realizes. True,
that's true. But that's really neat. So now we're in a real public meeting space, and so. But anyway, that's December 28th. It's on a Saturday. It's at 2 p.m. So definitely come on by and say hi and connect with us because we got a lot of things going on. We need a lot of help. We have the 2 initiatives right now we're gathering signatures for, and the 3rd one should be up and running soon.
Yeah, and as I know, as of now, they still need volunteers to collect the signatures for the initiatives. So
exactly,
get out there and do your part as well.
Right, we can set you up with that and tell you how to do it and everything else. And by the way, just a quick jump back to Alex Orchards and the Northwest Alternative. That organization is on our pamphlet, our Just Say No brochure, and if you need a copy of that, again, get a hold of me, dankbagman@hotmail.com, and we'll get that to you. It's got a lot of good information in it, including the greener side and a lot of other agencies that are out there to help patients, including Eric, which is on the show.
Medicinal Horizons,
yeah, Medicinal Horizons. So.
Any questions, you can definitely answer them.
Yeah, so anyway, that's all we got for the local announcements. So we got to jump on this story here out of about Arizona. This is from the weedblog.com. Johnny Green. He says, Arizona proposal to legalize cannabis announced. Arizona's Assistant House Minority Leader Ruben Gallego has announced that he will soon introduce legislation to explicitly legalize cannabis for those 21 and older. Under his proposed law, the possession of up to an ounce of cannabis and the private cultivation of up to 5 plants would no longer be illegal, and state-licensed retail outlets would be authorized. According to recent polling, this move is supported by 56% of those in the state. The issue of marijuana legalization, or excuse me, the issue of marijuana regulation is pragmatic, says Gallego. Regulating marijuana takes sales off the street and puts them in a controlled environment. Ultimately, this will help law enforcement, especially in times when resources are limited. He continues, about 750,000 Americans were arrested for marijuana-related offenses in 2012, and the majority of those arrests are simply for possession. Law enforcement officers' time and resources would be better spent addressing serious crime so that we are all safer. Additionally, we could use some of the money generated from the sales to pay for public education and treatment programs for alcohol and drug abuse. So that's really cool. Out of Arizona, I grew up in Arizona pretty much. And
how was it growing up with the cannabis?
I wasn't into cannabis then, so I don't really know. But Arizona was always as a trucker. I remember we always considered Arizona as one of the communist states. I mean, like police state, like under the black foot of authority. I mean, you know,
under the microscope.
yeah, and never death on everything, you know. So. Anyway, it's really interesting. In fact, it's another, I shouldn't tie up showtime, but there's an interesting story about the Phoenix airport, and my pipe got confiscated, but that's another story. So anyway, that's interesting in Arizona. I don't know if it'll go anywhere, but it's just incredible because it's just happening all over. You know?
Yeah, just one state, you know.
Yeah, one state, the city, and the counties, and I mean, it's going. So they're falling like dominoes. I can say it's better than I've ever seen it before.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's incredible. Another thing is, we're running out of real time here, but I want to jump on this story. I won't be able to get through the whole thing, but does smoking pot cause man boobs? We all heard that myth and such, and this was actually on CNN.com. Dr. Anthony Yohn, CNN contributor. And we've heard this myth, and it discusses it here, but the main thing I wanted to jump into it for is that our Hemp Fest, we had a volunteer last year that is, I don't know what is that, well, I don't know, I guess he's trans, no, I don't know. But anyway, he's a man, but he dresses as a woman, and I don't know.
Cross-dressing?
I guess, I'm not sure the right term, but anyway. The point is that he's an avid pot supporter, obviously helping us with the Hemp Fest. But it was so funny because he said, he says, I get attest the fact that smoking pot does not cause man boobs. He says, unfortunately, it doesn't work.
Yeah, that's definitely one way to look at it.
It was really funny.
You can also look at all the athletes that are out there every day.
Yeah, right.
I'm pretty sure that it doesn't cause them man boobs either.
Yeah, it's just some of the negativity from the days of propaganda about,
Yeah, that along with the Dr. Oz, it definitely does feel like the reefer madness is definitely still there.
Yes, oh my, yes.
And, it's probably going to take another few years to get that definitely forgot about.
Oh yeah, it takes a long time to turn around. Ever since 1937, and we're still fighting, So, real quick, how's it doing at the greener side?
It's doing good, actually. We're thinking about kind of getting a little event together for our 1-year anniversary because we opened up in January of this year.
Oh wow, that'd be
it's a pleasure to see the year coming around.
Yeah,
and
boy, stay tuned for that. We'll
definitely
be letting you know about that one.
Happy to have something for everybody to get together and get together, meet each other locally, and just enjoy the night. And
definitely, you bet. Network, fellowship, or whatever you want to call it, but just get together. We're trying to get the Oregon Green Free chapter back together. People are just aren't getting together like we used to, and I don't know why, but we got to work on it.
Yeah,
so
we will.
Please get together and network. So thanks for being here, and thank you for
my pleasure.
We're out of here.
If you're an adult who enjoys a good beer, there's a similar product you might want to know about. One without all the calories and serious health problems. Less toxic so it doesn't cause hangovers or overdose deaths, and it's not linked to violence or reckless behavior. Marijuana. Less harmful than alcohol, and time to treat it that way. For more information, visit marijuanaissafer.org.